morning, welcome to Clothes Logic by Marquez. Today we're going to talk about our tape, which is the most important tool as a fashion designer. So this is a tape. We have this particular tape is about 60 inches, and we have inches side and we have cm side. You can measure in inches, you can measure in cm, but most times we prefer to use inches. But if you are reading a book, or your customer sent you something on cm, you don't need to disturb yourself. Just find out the measurement. Assuming he sent you the half length at 17, just get your 17 in inches, turn it where you have your 17, and you will get the cm. So it's very simple. You can read in inches, you can read in cm. So today we are going to talk about the full tape. We have a tape that is 60 inches, like what I'm holding. There's another one that is longer, that is about 120 inches. So it depends on the one you're using. So in the tape, if you look at the tape, if you have your tape, you bring it. If you look at the tape, you will see that you have the very first line, which is a long one, and that very first line is 0. Then after that first line, please get your tape and be looking at it. The first line is like a tip. Is tip of the tape. That is what we call the first line. So the first line is 0. It starts from 0. After that, you have the very first one. You count it 1. Then you have 2. The 2 is popularly known as 0.25. Then after the 2, you count again 3. After 3, you count again 4. The fourth line, which is not as long as the first line, is popularly known as half inch. That is 0.5. After that, you count again 5. Then you count 6. After the sixth line is popularly known as 0.75. That is 3/4. After that, you count again 7, and you have the 8th line. The 8th line is your 1 inch. Now, let's divide it so you understand what I'm talking about. This line is 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the first line is known as 1/8. If you divide 1/8, get your calculator, divide 1/8, you will have 0.25. The second line is 2/8. Remember, the whole line to 1 inch is 8. So the second line is 2/8. If you divide 2/8, you will have your 0.25, or you will have your 1/4, which is the 1/4. After that, you have your third line. Your third line is 3/8. If you divide it, you will have 0.75. Get your calculator, you will confirm all this. Then the fourth line, which is the half inch, if is 4/8. If you divide it, you will have the fourth line is 4/8, which is, if you divide it, you have your 1/2, which is your half inch. Then the fifth line, if you divide your fifth line, which is 5/8, you will have your 0.625. After that, you will get to the sixth line. If you divide your sixth line, which is 6/8, you will have your 0.75. After 6, you will have your 7/8. If you divide your 7/8, you will have your 0.75. Then you will have your 8/8, which you all know that if you divide it, you have your 1 inch. So if you are measuring and you have something like, say, you know that after this 8 you have your 1 inch, then it's the same thing. If you are going after 1 inch, you have your another line, which is the same thing as, let's assume you have your 0.25, which is the second line. It's meaning that you are talking about 1 inch, 0.25. That's after 1 inch. Then if you move again and you're having 0.75, it means that your measurement will be 1 inch, 0.75. If you move again after 1 inch and you have the line on 0.5, which is the fourth line, that means you're talking about 1 inch, 0.5, that is 1.5 inch. Then after that you move again, whatever you get after that, you're talking about 1 inch. Then before that, say 1 inch, 0.75. So this is where I had to magnify a whole 1 inch. So assuming you are measuring this, we stopped at 2 inches, but don't forget the tape is about 60 inches. So assuming you are measuring and your customer's bust is about, let's say, 40 inches, then the tape will be on 40 inches. By the time you take it round, if you take it round, your bust, measure your client's bust, you will be having 40. But assuming it's after 40 and it's moving towards a tiny, that is towards maybe 1 or 2, it means you're talking about 40 inches, 0.75, or 40 inches, 0.5. That is 40 inches, 40.5, meaning your tape is on 40 points. The second line that is a bit shorter than the 1 inch. I don't know, I hope you understand what I'm talking about. Then if you are measuring and your tape stopped at, say, 30 inches, and then you have like maybe your tape is on the 6th line, that means your measurement is 40.75. So if you get your tape, you will understand, just be looking at it, you understand what I'm talking about. If you are able to read your tape from 0 to 1 inch properly, it means that you can actually read all your tape. So I hope this will help you. Don't forget the first line, the second line, but most times if you continue measuring, you find that your measurement is always running around 0.25, 0.5, 0.75. But even if you have something that is in between, with what I've given you, you should be able to, you should be able to read when you have 0.25, when you have 0.375. But then again, you can do approximations. Assuming you have your tape fell on say 40 inches, and then on the first line, this first line is supposed to be 0.25. Now most times you will not use 0.25. It's either you use 0.25, not 0.125, so that it will be a bit easier for you as a beginner. But for us, we do that 0.15, yes. But for you, you can just approximate it to 0.25, which is the second line. The difference is not much, so it might not disturb your garment. So assuming you have 40 and then the measurement passed 40 and got to the second line, meaning first line, which is supposed to be 1.25. So you can just 1.25, you can just approximate it to 0.25. That is 1/4. So we normally have, most times the conversant is 1/4, half inch, 3/4, and then 1 inch. But you can actually approximate it. So I hope, guys, that with this you should be able to read your tape. If you have any question, please ask us. We'll be glad to answer you. This is still Klate Logic by Marquez. I remain your girl, Kate. Please, I hope you are ready for your practicals, because this is the beginning. With this, you will be able to get your measurement right. After this, we talk about body measurement. But if you don't get this tape reading, you would find it difficult to get your body measurement. Thank you as we progress.